Hey dudes and dudettes, here with another loadout video for you, and this one is just to show you how I build my healing gun, because so many people have been asking about this when I'm getting matches with them and everything, and I thought this would be a cool idea to show some of the people that are now playing loadout that were on my YouTube, show them a viable support gun. Both my support guns are just switched in payloads. One's the healing and one's the buff, the juice. And I'll just show you what they have on the standard stock, because it's your best all-around stock. I've thought about going compact, but really it's not that big a deal because you don't have to aim with this gun. It's not really something that, like, oh, I have to be precise with, because we're using AoE and we're spamming it. And we use flak, and I'll show you that. On iron sights, on scopes, all we use is iron sights. You could go down here if you ever wanted to and get X-ray and bioscanner, but really, or laser guided. But really, we don't need to look down our aim much. We're going to be jumping and shooting, and I'll show you that in a second. For the barrels, I use the Hexa barrel. 6 rockets, and it fits well with the trigger that I've got. Once you get Hexa barrel, it really opens up a really cool look for your gun. I love the look of it, as you can see here. But then you go over here and you're going to need to get 3-round burst, and that's because the 3-round burst heals over half, or heals around 50-60%, 55-60%, sometimes a little more if you get lucky. With the 3-round burst, and you get 2 of those. So both rounds of 3 will heal a teammate full, to full overheal. And then we're going to go over here, and of course the payload is going to be health or the juice. And right now I've got health level, but trust me, even though mine's rank 5, it's not going to matter much. This gun heals like a monster, even with the basic parts that I've listed for you. So you're going to select heal health as your payload, and then I select corkscrew. Now if you're on a budget and you're not wanting to spend blutes, this can be one of the last things you can get, because you can just have normal rockets. I get corkscrew because it adds a little bit of healing there. You can see 0.30, but it also makes your rockets harder to hit if you're shooting from a distance at your teammates, so they can heal. It makes it harder for the enemy to stop your rockets from getting there because of the pattern that it moves in, and because you're not going to be aiming, and having a little extra heal anyways is good. And you're not going to be aiming, and they look like honeybees flying through the air, so I like them. As for shells, it's just straight over impact. I've tried sticky, and you can use sticky, but sometimes they're a little slow going off if you miss your teammates. That can be countered by the proximity, but I really have to put a little more time in with practicing sticky. I just unlocked it, as you can tell by the exp, and but all you need is impact. That's what I mainly use. Then I was originally using contact, and you can use contact until you can afford proximity. Use contact. It's going to you can use that, and I just started using proximity yesterday, I think it was, and even before that, I got tons of people saying, man, the heals are just insane on those rockets. So you don't have to worry, but you're going to have to aim a little better, and you're going to miss a few. With proximity, you don't have to aim as much, and if it goes by your teammate anywhere close, it's going to go off. So it's a big boon to not having to aim and being all chaotic. And then the final thing is the dispersal, which is I go with flak. Now the reason I go with flak is because clusters in them, they take a little while to go off, and I'll show you that here. With a cluster, you're going to get, damn it, I'll edit that out. With the cluster, you're gonna, let's wait for these to spawn. Okay, with the cluster, you're going to get, of course, when it hits them, it does nothing. It doesn't drop its cluster payload. You can shoot, of course, above them or behind them, and it'll drop that cluster payload. And while it does overheal, like, a little bit under half, I'll show you what flak does. And the reason I go with flak, because when flak hits, say we hit him, it still procs its flak. You see all that green all around them and these little things? It still procs. The clusters do not proc. They have to be, you know, targeted beside the person, and then they shoot out the miniature missiles and splatter. With, you know, flak, you don't have to aim, and they go off all the time like that. Now, with proximity, the reason I use proximity is because, say I usually would miss maybe one or two. With proximity, I can just shoot it above it. And there you've seen it healed them like 70 or more % on that. And the whole time, you'll be running around going like this. You'll be healing your teammates like this. You'll be jumping around and shooting down below where your teammates are, because you want to survive as long as possible. It doesn't matter how crazy you look or dumb you look, hopping around like some loony, as long as your teammates survive. So don't feel like, oh, all I do is hop around. You know, it's useful for staying alive, because the support needs to stay alive most of all, and they will target you. They've started targeting me big time, and they'll try their best to kill you off first. So if you keep hopping around, you're just going to give them a harder target, and your teammates are going to have time to you know, stop them from hurting you. Now, I use turret with this as well, this setup on certain maps. On Jackhammer, you can use it, but on Jackhammer, I kind of like using spawn point, which you can unlock by unlocking turret, then spawn point. But on all other forms of maps, whether it be the death, where you pick up bloots after they die, you know, whether it be extraction or anything like that, you can set up a turret even when you're dead, and your teammates are going to cut tons of heals, especially with proximity. Now, usually turrets are too slow and they miss your teammates a lot and stuff like that, but with proximity it gives it a little bit of accuracy, because it doesn't have to be on the spot, and flak will proc. And I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll go over here to the mover now, which usually it doesn't matter what he does, the gun always misses. See, it creates basically a wave of flak because it gets close enough to proc with the proximity. And of course, if they are standing still, don't get me started. It's just like you standing there healing. You can see it going off, and it's just, you know, a crazy amount. So it's a really big deal, and you can set that, of course, with your juice or your heal. So whichever you feel like. When we're doing extremely well, or my team needs a little bit boost in speed, you know, I switch to the juice gun and I put it on my turret. And here's a little cool thing about the rocket, the turret with the juice and hill. If, say, you wanted to use it on Jackhammer, use it next to your spawn point where your people will spawn, and if they run by it, they're going to get a little bit of overhill or a little bit of boost to help them run faster. And I'll show you that with boost real quick. Our honeymead shooter. Let's put that over here for us. Now watch. You can just set here, of course, if you have a sniper gun or anything like that, and you can set the turret up here, and you're going to do more boost or healing or anything like that. And of course, if it's near a spawn point, your team's going to come out and immediately get a speed boost on Jackhammer or any of the maps and get that extra run speed. And it kind of comes in handy when you're bashing people to death, because that's your only way to kill people with this full support build that I use. So maybe come in here and practice punching them, and the distance you need to be when you're going to be punching people or hitting with the butt of your gun. It's a great and fun build to use, and if you keep looking at watching the Learn by Play loadout videos that I've been doing, there it goes off and I didn't even tell it to. If you keep watching those videos, you're going to see me using this actually in the videos. Me using these on matches and stuff. It starts on the third video of the Learn by Play, which will be uploaded more than likely along with this or right before this. So check out those. It has a match. It has me using these guns in every kind of match, all 4 different kinds of the casual mode. So you can get a good feel for this support type build that I use. And what I do on certain map types and everything. and I can tell you that I do win the majority of the games that I play with this build. You don't see many support, but they are extremely helpful to a team. And I know a lot. I know some people want to kill, but for those that want to just purely support, or if you just want a support gun, it's these are really good. You don't when you switch to them, you don't have to aim. You just drop them. And with rockets, of course, I should mention that you get to do it yourself. You can run through it and get that temporary little bit of buff. With any other gun, you can't really shoot yourself unless you're bouncing it off walls with the rebounding shot and stuff like that. So watch, if you just shoot right there and then you run through it, you're gonna get a little bit of boost. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it opens up some cool support ideas for you, or maybe some rocket ideas or anything like that. And keep trying different loadouts for guns. I have actually had a few people tell me they've never seen this. Now I'm sure that it's been made before, because you have to test it and in the beta and alpha and stuff to balance out. So I'm sure it's been made before, but I still haven't seen it yet, and a lot of other people that I've talked to haven't seen it. So get in with it now and surprise people with the rocket support. And as always, take care, be safe, and be cool to each other.